thank you, Lord, for this day. Thank you for your blessing upon all of us, Lord. I ask you, Lord, to help us as we're here together here tonight to do the county's business and lead us and guide us and make the right decisions to take our county forward. What's your will upon all we do, Lord? In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. 6:04, and I show present Chris Dickerson, Emily Atkins, Charles Flint, Brian Dillon, Cheyenne Holbrook absent, Pam Flynn, and Susan. Comments from citizens and special guests. With us this evening, we have Tyler Kane. He's a resident of the Bruin Precinct. Tyler has had multiple issues with his trash being picked up through weather patterns, through staffing, whatever it is. Tyler has a legitimate concern that he wanted to bring before the court this evening. Tyler, you sir have the floor. You're welcome to speak.
Well, I think we just discussed basically, I mean, sort of what I was bringing up, and that's the fact that inclement weather's going to happen every year. It seems like in worse and worse times. Trash not getting picked up, it's not just going to be me or my family or our route or anything else. It's going to be somebody else. So I think we have to look to a different idea of how we can accommodate the excessive amount of trash that can build up over a week or two period of time.
Let me go back to the supervisor. This is, I guess I'm asking, and I'm saying I'm more than willing to do this. And ask him because Waste Management is the largest waste collection company in the world. I'm sure they've got an idea or two. What can we do as a small county in our contract? What methods could we follow? What could we exercise to try to, if you can't get here, what compensation on the county if we jump in and do your route for you? Is that even something that's possible? Even though I have a very limited road crew, and I don't mind at all doing it myself if I'm at all able, but I guess I need to go back and have this conversation with the supervisors at Waste Management in inclement weather, where you have, and to kind of put it on record, the Bruin area, Dewey Garris Ridge, Wallahoe, I think maybe Blaine's Trace, Little Brushy, Big Brushy, those areas, and if I'm going to say Wallahoe, there's probably some others up and down 486 that are impacted by this. There was a weather system that moved through, not just one, but it was almost back to back to back Fridays, and it caused Advanced Disposal to miss the route altogether. Well, in one instance, I think they did come back on Monday and try to catch up everyone, but then they abandoned that same strategy, and they just went ahead and started their route over. But what happens is you have Tyler's family and a multitude of other families that trash does not stop. Trash is still collecting. You've still got your life, you're living, and you're still packing bags out the door. So what I need to do is go back to them and say, listen, we need to come up with a plan B. If plan A is not going to be in effect, and we do have this back to back to back Friday where you're calling off your workers and saying don't go to Elliott County, then what? What if it's going to be one Friday missed, might be able to get by with it, 2 Friday missed, somebody's going to do something because the contract says they're going to get a can. But one can obviously doesn't already cover the problem. So what now? Because you know one can after 1 week is going to be too little of a can.
Why do they not do double duties on days when they miss a day like these other trash collection agencies do? If they miss Thursday, for example, they'll come back and double up on Friday and get 2 areas and send in whoever they need to. And I know what the answer's going to be, well, it's cold, but I'm sick of hearing about cold. I mean, Johnny, don't they have an obligation to pick our trash up weekly in that contract? If they don't, what are the penalties that we can put on them to try to force them to do that? Because
they do provide a service. And it was agreed upon a certain amount for a certain amount of trash that they would come. Is there any language in it, just like you were speaking of, that says, well, if it's going to be back-to-back snows, seems like they would need to have a discussion with themselves.
A lot of these other municipalities, I listen to the radio, you know, up around Cincinnati, in that area a lot, they'll miss snow or whatever. But when they do, if they miss on a Wednesday or a Thursday, they'll double up on Friday. They don't let it go till the next week. And I don't understand, and that just 1 week, if I understood Tyler right, it's been 2 and 3 weeks down there time. And that's, you know, that's not good.
Well, the fiscal court entered the contract with waste management. That contract sets forth the obligations. But it's very clear they haven't necessarily had opportunity to even visit that contract for a little while now, but their obligation is to pick up the trash.
Period.
And foremost,
Period.
that's their obligation, and when they don't do that, well, it would seem very reasonable, if I were operating their business, I would want to send somebody up here to speak to the fiscal court about how they're not living up to their end of the bargain.
Because what we don't want to do is we don't want to get them used to saying, well, we'll not go Friday night, we'll pick it up, or the road crew will not work. We don't want to fall into that either, because it's not your job or the road worker's job to do it. We're paying them a monthly fee for them to come and pick our garbage up.
Yeah. Well, I think you need to read the contract. I'll look over that maybe with the judge, to see if the contract's specific on unforeseen circumstances like that.
Do you have a scanned copy of that, or you could email that to us, the magistrates?
I do.
The original that you
Shania's
got
got
in the sheriff's
She's got,
office.
yeah,
Could
we
you
got.
all email us a copy of that,
Yeah,
please?
let's look at that, and even if, just like any other contract, if it doesn't address all of the circumstances that you've had to deal with, well then, you know, that's something, if it's outside the contract, their bottom line and obligation is to collect the trash. And when they don't do it, they've breached their contract.
And if they don't do it, you've got people that's calling in, well, call down there and they'll give you credit. Well, good luck with that, trying to get hold of it. But they know, if they don't pick up Myron's trash or my trash, they know that. They should give us a credit without us having to chase them down to Cuddy's and back to ask for it.
You know what?
I mean, I think it's
to
ridiculous.
that was when I stopped him on Wallaho when we were ripping out a tile and we put in a new one. He pulled out his iPad and was taking a picture of me because I had the roadblock. So the driver had already, the driver had already been told, or they've already been armed with something to tell him, if you can't get through there, you better have proof as to why you can't get through there.
Is the contract, not to interrupt, but is the contract with advanced disposal or waste management?
And it's with advanced disposal, but waste management is now the parent company of advanced disposal.
Right.
It's the same, it's one and the same, the parent company, but the contract reads advanced disposal.
And that gentleman, he still pays for, say, $20 a week for his garbage.
That's right.
And even if they're 3 weeks behind, there's still $60 he's paid them.
They owe him $40 back first.
The conversations that I had, and yes, COVID was a big one, and families with COVID, and they have their own COVID policy through Waste Management Global and then they also, if a county has an ordinance on COVID, then they try to follow that county ordinance as well. But then he talks about that reduces manpower altogether, and by reducing manpower altogether, his truck drivers run out of hours, and then they're against ICC. So then their logbooks show that they're no, without a better term, riding dirty.
Yeah.
And so then they could be in trouble for that with accounting and with auditing and so on and so forth. So it's like one problem begets another problem and is exasperated by
And to me,
something.
that shouldn't affect us. They have a contractual obligation with us. Their option is to fulfill their employees or to make sure that they have the staff to do it. That's nothing in our contract with them. That's a guess. I've never seen the contract, but I would guess there's nothing in that contract that says you can only work if you've got enough employees, and if you don't, we're okay.
That's on them.
There has to be.
I'm not saying that as an excuse from my standpoint. I'm giving you that as an excuse from theirs.
Yeah.
That's,
They're $1 billion company. You're not going to fight them in court and win. I get that. I mean, you're not going to send them a bill for $30,000 because you went out and picked it up and then paid it. But there is a contract for some reason. Otherwise, why would we even need to have it?
It depends. You know, if they're in default, it don't matter how big they are, they should be responsible for it. And they should pick the trash up, period. I mean, if the county's gonna have to pick it up, why have them in here in the first place?
Exactly.
Well, we know there's an issue, so the best thing to do is actually find out what the contract says and continue this conversation, because at the moment, we don't know for sure what it says.
Well, we also need to get a representative for them to come in here at the next meeting, and we need to talk to them.
I'm sure that he will. I'm sure that Brent would have Brent or someone else, but I figure Brent's the gentleman that's come here
He's
before
been
and
here
submitted.
before,
work.
yeah.
But I will request Brent come to our next meeting, either in person or via
See if
Zoom.
there can be some way of resolving this to where it's simplified the problem. I can see a way. He had a good idea, and I see complication with his idea.
I do too.
It would work, but still, there should be some kind of way to resolve this problem.
But hopefully it's just a seasonal problem. Hopefully COVID's behind us now, and we can look forward to getting on with our lives and not have that as an
Afraid it's with us forever.
Well,
Hopefully it won't snow on Friday no more, so they'll pick the trash up.
I mean, 40 days till spring, that's all we can have the groundhog.
That's what,
It's earlier this week.
there may be a weather clause in that contract, we better read it.
That's what I'm saying, we don't know what's there.
We don't know.
I can't figure it out.
I couldn't empathize anymore with what Tyler's going through. I've got a family, not as big as Tyler's, but I do have a family. We all have families. Everybody in this room has families. And we're all dealing with our own struggles through COVID. We've all dealt with our own struggles through COVID. And when you manage anything, which Tyler does, you've had to learn to adapt to those struggles through COVID, through that management system and process as well. And it's not been comfortable. And especially a few weeks ago when all of us were out of the office, and the animal control officer, Ann, was answering every phone call that came in for a couple of days. I was working out of my truck. It really lets you know how mortal you are. Because Jim and Jim's wife was sick, Shana, her daughter was sick, Crystal's, her whole house, had it in my house. So, but we still rolled on. We did what we needed to do. I come and got your trash and I was COVID positive.
Yes, and I appreciate that.
I
told
just
you not to
really wish
do
that.
too.
Well, no, and you said don't do it, and I feel bad for everybody. I serve with all
But
of
there's
them.
plenty, mine is just, I'm young enough, I can haul mine somewhere, but the elderly couple that have trouble getting out in weather anyways, they're still gonna have trash. So that's what I guess I'm here for.
Well, there's an idea. Let me stew on that. If all else fails, I've got an idea, Tyler. No, I've got.
You don't need a motion or anything on it, you can just ask him if he can come and talk.
No, I will. I'll ask Brent. You've been requested out of the fiscal court to come to the next meeting and be present either in person or where we can bring that television in there in that room in here and pull you up. Let us round robin some questions at you if we need to.
I mean, with Dewey Garrett's Road, you're looking at almost 30 houses, so you can get 2 or 3 weeks like that. That's a lot of traffic.
Yeah, I received some messages.
It's a lot of money for them that they paid into.
Well, that all,
That's a lot of money for people that's paid in, that's right. That's
And
not
then
provided
there's the
for.
money thing that comes with it is their billing system when they went from advanced disposal to waste management. It didn't understand county lines. So if you live in Olive Hill, which a whole lot of you do, or you live in Moorhead, which a whole lot of you do, but you don't, it was giving you a personal, not a contractual price, but if you as a person had their services, that's what they were charging you. An example is a family out on Sideway Road. They called me and said the bill was $80-some, and I called Advanced or Waste Management for them, and they said they live in Olive Hill. I said, no, they live in Elliott County. And I said, if you want the GPS coordinates to put in your computer, I'll give them to you. And the lady said, well, just give me their street address. And I gave them their street address, and she said, I do show this in the Elliott County quadrant. And I said, yes. I've been to their house. I had trick-or-treat dinner with them one night. Yes, they are in the Elliott County quadrant. And so we ended up working that out, but when I talked to Brent today, he's putting this all together because their waste management is having a hard time understanding. Well, if you live in Olive Hill and Olive Hill's in Carter County, or if you have an Olive Hill address and Olive Hill's in Carter County, then you must live in Carter County. Well, it doesn't work that way because we have 6 zip codes, right, Jim? We have 6 zip codes in Elliott County. And that could throw a wrench into all kinds of your issues.
My whole district's an all hill in there, I'm pretty sure.
So he said he's working on trying to get all that taken care of. But that day, I was able for that lady to get, when I talked, the lady on the other end of the line, she was nice as could be, grandmother of 4. But we talked for a few minutes, but she fixed this family's issue, but we ran into another problem, which I addressed with Brent today. And Cheyenne had already addressed with Brent, was the lady told me, all right, I have lowered their bill to the contractual price. So saith, and she was typing in her notes, Judge Executive Myron Lewis said, and she added them to the senior discount because the husband is under 65, the wife is over 65, so she made their names joint. But she said, I cannot change your price on this billing cycle, I can only adjust it moving forward. What you need to do is wait till your next bill comes out, you're overcharged for not paying your whole bill this time, call us back and we'll deduct the difference. And I said, you see what now you want 1,400 customers to do that?
And again, that's their problem,
Yeah.
not ours.
And so I told this lady I was on the phone with, I said, when you get your next bill, call me back. She's got my cell number. I said, call me back and I'll call in right then and I'll have that removed from your bill. And she, just like Tyler, and just like Chris, she said, Myron, it's not your job. And I, what kind of is, when everything's broke and we're trying to keep it running, like that, but we're going, and Brent, I talked to him about that today, and Brent said, this is ridiculous. He said, I've never seen something so hard. And what it is you have a publicly traded god of a company that has come in and swallowed a regional garbage company, and they're trying to manage it immediately by their rules, and the rules don't always apply in every instance. Chris doesn't manage his house the way Charles manages his. So I'm not going to go to both of them and say, you're both going to start managing your houses this way. And that's what Waste Management has come in a sense, and tried to do, and it just has not worked. The Tyler Kanes of the world are sitting down there going, so who gets my trash?
So, when the county has a contract with this company, does that mean that no other company, like if there was 10 people on my road and I found a delivery company, or, a trash company that would come service the 10 houses on my road, does that mean is there like a non-compete within the county?
Correct. The fiscal court has signed a contract with this company exclusive. And I'll tell you why. One of the biggest reasons is Elliott County has such a small customer base, is that to get a company to come in here, they want it all, or they won't even come in here. And it was the same we had with, it was Big Run Landfill then, now it's Rumpke down in Boyd County. They were the same way. They said, well, if we come in, we want Polk County. Now, Sandy Hook, the city of, is different. It has Elliott County Sanitation. But that's one, and then the county of Elliott is one. Carter County is large enough to where they have different vendors. And I think, who else did we talk about? Somebody else has different vendors. Lawrence County, Jim mentioned that today, that Lawrence County has different vendors. Elliott County being the size that it is and having the amount of population that we have, they want one, they just want to be the sole vendor, which I get, but then we fall back on, are you living up to your end of the bargain?
Does the county pay Waste Management anything?
No. We pay, well, yes and no. No, we don't pay for the service. Yes, we have 2 dumpsters down there that are exclusive to their service.
County's a customer, just like all the rest of
We
the
are also,
city.
yeah. And they offer the county a discount for our 2 large 30 and 40 cubic yard dumpsters that we keep at the garage. Because there's a charge to come get them, there's a charge to take them back, and there's a charge per pound to dump. So you're paying the truck driver essentially about $250 to come up here to get it, take it back, and then whatever he weighs in on the scale to dump. That's on the tire sheet.
So roughly $250 a dumpster. Because my thought was, that I just mentioned was, and I understand logistics is going to play a key part in it, and that is have a dumpster in a centralized location for each route during inclement weather season. Maybe December, January, February, 3 months out of the year possibly.
You'll get Carter County, Brown County trash,
Still won't get
County trash.
Well, so my thought on that is this: you have a lock on it that somebody from the county that is out plowing or something can go possibly unlock the dumpster, and that's it. They don't have to touch it, but just unlock it. That way, those times that the trash did run, it's locked. When it's not, it's unlocked.
That would be a discussion with the next time around.
That's the part I hate for where it says stew on idea.
Yeah.
No, you brought it up, it's a good idea.
It's a good
I
idea.
want to elaborate on it, but I don't want to show the hand of the fiscal court just yet. In case the residents that don't live in our county went, aha, we just wait on that to open
That's
up.
exactly right.
And then we come rolling in there. But your idea is extremely valid.
I get what you're
Example is
saying.
the bridge pull-offs.
Yeah. We had a trash can on either side of the new bridge down here, and we kept that trash can empty. Well, it went from an occasional McDonald's bag, and an occasional pop can or beverage can or beverage bottle to bathroom trash, cans of green beans, apple peels.
I get that, but we're gonna pay for it one way or the other. We're either gonna pay or community service these people that are having to pick up trash on the side of the road, or they're gonna put it in the trash can and we haul it off and we're done with it.
Yeah. Well, I think you're onto something there, and I think we can talk about it. I think you've got a great idea, and I think I know a way to jump in and make it happen.
Okay.
And I think it'll make it a lot easier for you and your family and many others too. It's just, it was your idea that caused my epiphany, and I think Charles is following along. I think Charles is following along with what my idea is. So, Jim, I think I've got an idea. So anyway, all right, that's good.
Thank you.
It's good to talk about garbage. But Tyler, I'm sorry that you and your family and others have gone.
It's not you, you've like I said, I told you before, you went above and beyond, you getting out there and picking it up in the dumpster. I didn't expect that, don't ever ask for that, would never ask for that, but I sincerely appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure. It's-
And it's not a healthy thing that there has others had some issues too.
I think everybody in the county over winter
It's
has
just
experienced it.
impossible.
You know, it's just unfortunate for me in my route, it's been on a Friday, and we've had weather, which I like it because I'd rather have to be snowed in on a Saturday and be able to go to work on a Monday than be snowed in during the week. So it's worked out better that way, so.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming and bringing us up to the
Thank you. Anything further?
No, sir.
Okay. You're welcome to stay. Ah! That's what most of them say.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm out of here. Thank you, Tyler. Anyone else with anything to bring forward before we start regular business? All right, we'll roll on. Old business, approve regular meeting minutes for January 18th, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
A motion by Emily Atkins, a second by Chris Dickerson. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Number 2, approve special meeting minutes February 2nd, 2022.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Chris Dickerson with a second by Emily Atkins. Is there any further discussion? With that said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Just to make a note, Cheyenne, in the agenda that I have, it says on number 1 to approve the regular meeting minutes for January 18th, 2021. It's actually 2022, so my apologies for missing that. Number 3, discussion regarding hazardous retirement for the deputy sheriffs. Crystal, do you want to step in here? Do you want me to?
Okay. So when we hired Walker Craves, he is not a hazardous duty deputy. Casey is, but Casey is considered a tier 1 employee. And it is currently currently only tier 1 employees participate in hazardous duty. The sheriff participates and Casey, like I said, participates. But Walker, I just didn't know how you all wanted to do that. If you wanted him to participate in hazardous or if not. Currently, he is not.
He's just part-time on the sheriff, correct?
He is.
I would also mention that we are, she's called COPS, the providers of the COPS grant funding that we have that has assisted us with Casey. They're telling her that she needs to wait and apply in March or April when that grant opens back up. They're also telling her that they could possibly add Casey at that time to that grant cycle. I'm sorry, why I keep doing that? Because his last name's Crazy. I'm sorry. They could actually add Walker at that time if we are approved. But I would recommend a couple things. We wait on this to do anything until we look into this COPS grant. Number two, we wait on the monies that you may decide to move with until the budget process begins for fiscal year 22-23.
Yeah, if we get that grant, it will pay for his retirement and his salary both. So, and it, like Myron said, it's March or April when that comes back around. We're currently doing that for Casey.
But the majority of his time he works is through the school system, correct?
That's correct.
So-
During the school hours.
So they should be the ones kind of responsible for it, am I correct?
Well,
I contacted the school and they said they were not going to pay hazardous duty for SRO.
Well, we'd be paying hazardous duty for what time he works for school, plus the part-time time that helps the sheriff.
if the grant was given to us, if we received the grant,
Yeah.
the grant would pay for that.
Okay.
Even though he's working for the school.
Even though he's working for, you, that was your
Because it's
question.
through
correct?
us.
Yeah.
It would pay for it as an SRO and as a part-time deputy.
Was there some kind of agreement that they pay his salary, it's just paid through the fiscal court? Are we?
They are paying his salary and benefits up to 28,000 change, right?
Yes.
And
Which
we-
equals what percentage of his total salary?
It's way over right now until, because when you agreed to pay him, we agreed to pay him $60-some hundred, right?
Yes.
So-
6,500.
65, so it got him to around the $35,000 mark. However, I'll tell you, through some overtime and school being called out, him being called in, he's already at that $6,500.
Not quite yet.
Not quite, okay. Let's get-
Well, I think the question that I see here is if he spends the time at the school and we agree to pay this, then we're paying part of his salary even after the school through this hazardous pay, is that correct?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, if you guys did, you're exactly, yes.
And can we legally do that? I mean, the school is their own taxing entity too.
Right.
And then it's being passed on to the fiscal court. I mean,
Without them being participating in this, they should be responsible for that.
for their part
during
anyway.
this time. Because we shouldn't be paying out of fiscal court money through the grant. Would still be fiscal court money paying him to work at the school.
Through the
I
COPS
think
grant.
that's a conflict of interest there.
Well, through the COPS grant, if the COPS grant is reimbursing, it would reimburse on all of it. So that would be the grant process. So that would take care of the whole.
I think Johnny should get involved with this because from what I understand is we cannot pay for one gravel for that, let alone a deputy for the school system, they're their own tax entity.
Without an interlocal agreement. And we do have an interlocal agreement for Walker. But you're
With the
saying.
school, with the school.
With the school system, yes, sir.
And what does that interlocal agreement say?
It's
They
they,
pay his salary.
they
That's
pay.
what I thought.
Yeah. Well, that much of it, and we agreed as a fiscal court to pay an extra 6,500.
For extra time.
That was the budget amount for him through the sheriff's department to do extra.
But they're paying 28, up to 28,000 there regardless of where he works, is that correct? Or is that just for school time?
They're just paying for school.
Well, then we
It's
should,
separate.
and we
It's
should
separate.
only pay for county, that's, I mean, it's,
Except that's the way, yeah. But he's already almost ended
They're
up.
reimbursed.
So I think it needs some checking on anyway, because even if you do get that grant, it can't carry over as payment for working at the school, I'm pretty sure.
No, that grant allows for SROs. It states it specifically in the grant. SRO or deputy.
I just think that needs to be clarified for sure before we step into something we don't want to step into.
Well, here, it sounds like we got another problem on our hands too. If he's almost through the money we approved, this is only February, mid-February.
We'll know more about the SRO and the grant come March, but because that's whenever we can apply for it, and I'll put it before you then, when that opens up, the grant itself.
Because the fiscal court's not supplying the SRO. The
And I
school's
wasn't
got a
gonna
grant
change
for that.
anything for the remainder of this fiscal year. We need to know just for next fiscal year.
This needs to be part of the budget process for next
Yeah.
fiscal year.
To get ready for that.
I just think we need to check on that. Them two there are separate, but I know the money's just passing through the fiscal court for the school. But I'm just saying, I don't think we could step out of our bounds.
As soon as we get that documentation, it'll go to Johnny, he can
10-4.
He can take a look at it, and then it'll go to you, it'll come before you, and Johnny can speak on it. I want him to be comfortable with what he's done.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just interject that there's no better way to spend money than keeping a school safe.
I'm not against it.
There's no better dollar you can spend.
I'm not against us doing it for
County
the school.
school.
I'm just saying, I don't think we're allowed to do it for the school.
Yeah.
I think that's,
Would there be any legalities if audit comes up on us or
Yeah.
keeping the school?
That's my only question too.
But we'll make sure before it ever goes anywhere, because it'll be here to there.
because right now, the money from the school is just passing through the fiscal court like all the other things. But if we add money to it for him working up there,
You have to say that,
we could be in, just make sure we're not, please.
I bet you
I mean, I'm thinking we're here for extra help too, don't get me wrong, but I've been worried about exceeding what we've approved.
Yeah, I just wanted to know your all's thoughts on it, because I wasn't aware that it was even like that. I thought all the deputies, because Casey was hazardous, I thought when they were hired, they were all hazardous. And because we had Ray as hazardous. But that wasn't the way it was, and it kind of shocked me, and
Oh, did it?
we wanted to bring it to you all and let you all decide what you wanted to do with it.
He also has to be POP certified, too, but I believe he is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, I think he had all,
I think he had all that,
Casey
yeah.
all over.
Both of those guys.
yeah, he had them all.
He went through Richmond, so he's legit.
Are we comfortable here moving forward,
Yes.
to move forward?
Can we hear from John?
Well, he'll need to hear from us whenever the COPS grant comes back available. We'll get it, make sure we put money's next.
Yeah, it's more true, I'm not sure.
New business, approve the resolution for application or administration of Kentucky 911 Service Board. Robin is wanting to apply for a grant to put in a new recorder system. The recorder system she has is really old. It's outdated, and it's not the greatest. And any time that you call an admin number or 911, it is a recorded line, and her recorders are having some issues. And I'm going to say they're over a decade old, what she has. It's about a $30,000 grant that she's wanting to apply for, but there's a resolution she's asking us to pass to allow me to sign for the 911 dispatch center to go through with the grant process.
Is this 100% grant or 80/20?
It's 100%.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Jim's nodding back there. I'm pretty sure it's 100% grant. 3 quotes obtained for any equipment or services that exceed $100,000. KRS 4580.
Basically, all we're approving is
It's the application.
just the application.
You're allowing me to sign to,
I'll make a motion.
I'll say,
we got a motion by Charles with a second by Chris. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Ayes have it. Number 2, approve, discuss, to purchase mobile messenger for the sheriff's office. There is a program that we are being told from the sheriff's department where instead of calling KSP to have a tag run or KSP to have information on a subject, that they could actually call Brittany at the sheriff's office. The program would be on her computer, and that program would be sufficient and legal to run the individual. An example would be if one of the law enforcement members, Walker, Casey, or Ray come up behind Cheyenne, he's in his personal vehicle, and they want to run his tag because they think that is just what led to robbery. They can call the sheriff's office, and Brittany can go ahead and run the tag right there, versus calling KSP, which has how many counties, and being put on hold for a period of time that he may float right into Lawrence County and go on out of the jurisdiction. This is the program that they're wanting to go with. It's $1,430 for the first year, $180 thereafter.
It says year 2 cost or due, so you gotta pay the 180 on top of the 1430.
I am thinking, he's saying that 1430, year 2 costs are due to begin 1 year following initial
So
installation.
this is the second year you pay 180?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the way I do it.
Okay, yeah.
$1430 for the first year and $180 maintenance cost after.
Here's my concern about this. I mean, it sounds like a great idea, but Brittany works 8 to 4 Monday through Friday, right?
That's correct.
That's like the other 16 hours a day. We've already helped do this. I would think that the crucial time they would need it. And the weekends.
Well, option there would be if one of the law enforcement,
I think they can do it through their phones too.
I think there's an
That's what it
app.
sounds like.
Because they need it for nights and weekends is when they really.
An app.
That's what I think.
But that, this, as you said, would be sufficient enough to run an old high tag. If they got an old high tag pulled over, it's national.
It says NCIC access.
They can say, this gentleman here owns his car, he's a convicted felon or whatever.
It should run a national tag.
Okay.
It's showing licenses in 4 open Fox Soft tokens, which I have no idea what that means, for Kentucky Link and NCIC access. NCIC is national.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Walker tell us that he can do that from his computer as long as he had a connection?
I
Yeah.
think it could, work as well.
And you can get in the car.
Their computer in the car.
Yeah.
Here's
Honestly,
what,
I'd like to know that answer before we approve this thing. I mean, that could sound like a great idea, but, you know, nights and weekends is when it's gonna be the most.
well, do you want to sit on it until one of them can come in and tell us about it?
I think
I
it'd
can
be
sit
better.
down. Let me try calling.
If we just find out.
I think it'd be great to have it, for them, but I wanna be able to use it.
Yeah, find out if they can use it.
Well,
You can use it 24/7.
Round the
That
clock,
would be
yeah.
real good.
Crystal could come up with the money, don't forget that.
That's the other side.
You get out of the hole somewhere. Mason jar.
So he messaged me on Wednesday, January 19th, and I guess that was after he got everyone certified, and said, just so you know, just so that you're in the know, I've gotten everybody certified to operate Link/NCIC, which is a platform dispatchers use to run license numbers and plate numbers. I made a new contact with the state police and developed a policy approved by KSB to approve us to receive something called mobile call. Once approved, if approved, we are allowed to purchase the software, giving Ray, Casey, and I the ability to run the information without having to call our dispatch to turn, or in turn call KSP to do it on our own.
Like, do
Okay, good.
it. That's good.
Is that him?
It is. He's on speakerphone, so if y'all want
Walker, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
This is Myron, and you are live on television. You have Johnny Lewis, the county attorney, Chris Dickerson, Emily Atkins, Charles Witt, Brian Dillon, Cheyenne Holbrook, Cheyenne Jenkins in the courtroom. We are live on fiscal court, and we have some questions to ask you regarding the CPI Computer Projects of Illinois, which is this software that you mentioned that you'd like to purchase. Can you tell us about it, sir?
Yeah, so what this is everybody at the sheriff's office has already been trained through CGCs and stuff that we go through in order to run people's operator's license, out-of-state license, and their license plates that are on their vehicles. We went to the Kentucky State Police in order to even get quotas for everybody in the agency that would be using. You had to have what is called a token and a certification, and then there had to be somebody who's had extra training to be able to oversee and make sure that all security parameters were tended to, and which is me. So myself, the sheriff, Deputy Bramble, as well as Ms. Kissinger, have been trained and have all the credentials we need in order to go through with it. And what that is that's going to pretty much put us, officer safety-wise, in a lot better situation in case we need to run something. So right now, if I'm behind a vehicle, or if I'm in an accident, or if there's something going on, I have to make a phone call to the Elliott County Sheriff's Office, and then I have to wait on the Elliott County Sheriff's Office to reach out to them, and then that's if they don't put us on hold. And then that's about a 25-minute process. By then, you're either looking at possibly an unlawful detainment, by then if it's a consensual encounter, or you might be out with somebody who's wanted for a dangerous felonious assault, and you don't know none of these things, and you're standing there for 25 minutes trying to figure it out. Well, if I had that machine with me at all times, which is downloaded to the software, downloaded to our computer, I can run that done within 30 seconds. This is something that only the deputies would have. However, if the county decided to go through one day in the future to have something on a bigger platform in the dispatch room, you could go through these same people I went through. But as of right now, since we don't have that ability through dispatchers, we are trained to be able to run it ourselves, and that's why they gave us this one to do it. And to have that luxury is awesome because it prevents me from having to try to make contact with posts or trying to call or run information. That eliminates about 50% of our calls to KSP. That's about 50% of it trying to run information. I'm trying to see if they're wanted or got warrants or if their driver status is enforced or there's restrictions or anything of that nature.
Any questions?
This program before us will give them the capability 24/7 to do that.
Did you hear the question, Walker?
Was he asking, like, to be able to run it 24/7?
Yes.
Yes, if Deputy Bramble's out at 3 in the morning, we don't go through, we deal with the people above Local Messenger. They have their own pretty much hub that they go through, and we deal with them. We don't deal with KSP when it comes to this. We don't deal with nobody but ourselves and the administrators who we purchase it from. If there is a necessary training, they will contact us, like, hey, you need to do X, Y, Z. But as long as we're up to date and we make our payments, I think it was like a certain set amount to get started, and there's a maintenance fee every year after that. It was more, as long as we fall within our guidelines and get all that stuff done, we can run it Monday through Sunday, all day, every day, 24 hours a day. We don't need anybody's discretion. That's ours. And, yeah.
Walker, give me an example of when you would need to contact KSP.
I wouldn't need to call them unless I need to do like a criminal history check, or like, because it's more official if you go through their platform, or if I need to request assistance on a call.
Okay.
I would not be calling or anything else.
All right, that was my question. Thank you. I just want, Magistrates, do you have
Do
any?
you have to have a cell phone signal for this thing to work?
I think so. Walker, do you need you've got to have cell phone service, right?
Yeah, you have to have we don't have our phones. We can use a hotspot to our computer, but I also think that we can also go through whoever we go through to get our work. Some of the people within the sheriff's office or in the county have work phones. We can go through them and just get, since there's only like 2 of us, we need boosters, those little Wi-Fi boosters they got.
And that could,
But that's, if we decide to go that route, we can use your phones. But now if you lose service, you don't have no internet or nothing. You don't have to. But as long as we can we're going to try to also look into those boosters where we can keep service just about anywhere. So that's your
You had issues on all
I can barely get that. I have a booster in my truck.
If you lose the service, you can't call KSP anyway, so.
No, if you lose service, the phone call KSP's out anyway.
Yeah, we're hauling on the radio when we buy that.
Yeah. Any other questions, concerns for Walker?
So he can have access to this on his computer in his vehicle?
Yeah.
Do they already have how much are
If I was running the ticket, I would be able to have all the information in hand. If I was serving a warrant, I don't have to make phone calls. If I need to go back on something, to try to run information on the proof from the previous day, I ain't gotta call post and sit there and wait for 20 minutes and ask them a series of questions. Or if I run one, if I want to put a fire on the serial number, I don't have to call post and do all that. I can do it right there in my car, or right there in the agency, or wherever my computer is, I can do it.
What's the cost of a booster, a secure booster for a phone in a vehicle, Walker?
I don't honestly know about the boosters. We haven't looked too far into it yet because we were trying to see if we can make it this far.
The one I have in my truck, it was over $500, and it's not the best option. So I'm going to say between $500 and $850 for a relatively good booster, if I was guessing.
Right, so like, I know that for myself and Deputy Bramble, that was something we was going to look into possibly. I think the sheriff runs a lot of his information through Deputy Kissinger. That's why we trained her on it too. Because he does a lot of his throughout the day. That's not something I see him using as much out while driving. And that's why, like, I believe his computer will stay there and she will operate. So he runs something through her. He has that immediate contact. He don't do much driving and typing at the same time. He probably ready to get already But that was a possibility, but before we could ever get there, we was thinking about just trying to boost off our phones and do the best we can, but having that availability and just get that foot in the door was our biggest hope.
Folks, any other questions for Deputy?
Right.
So the 1430 payment, we pay that. All four of these trained individuals will have access to all this information without added fees.
Did you hear what he said, Deputy?
The only, the software we're purchasing for that amount is for those 3 computers. There are 4 people that are trained to use it, the 3 computers. And then that's what that'll cost to get it started, and that'll be a maintenance fee. I think it's, I can't quote it, but I think it's between $300 or $400 every year for that maintenance fee. And if one day Elliott County decides to get another deputy, all we gotta do is call, and that maintenance fee might boost up $150, $200, but they keep it going. We get them trained and we keep running. We just slowly start acquiring more things, and we can continue to keep that going. That's nothing will change. We just add to it or get approval and then add on to it.
Well, it sounds like you probably the boosters make this work right in with them, correct?
Well, if Walker's or Sheriff Kraft or Casey, if they're floating around Sandy Hook, they're fine. But if they step out and they start heading, like he said, in other areas in the county, then yeah, they would need a booster system.
Yeah, there's areas it wouldn't work.
Oh, no, there's places I have no signal.
Plains Trace is another.
I can sometimes get a text out on places like Plains Trace.
I feel like regardless if we do this or not, I would probably do the boosters anyways, just if they get
That's
instances.
kind of what I was saying.
Ray and I had that discussion.
The high
They do need boosters.
Yeah.
Us being in a rural area, absolutely.
You said probably an $800 booster to have a good one.
My booster in my truck was over 500, and it's an okay booster.
So if we just start with this right here, then we can get a discussion later on about the boosters that
Yes.
be added to this.
Yeah,
So this will get
that's
us
kind of what we're just doing, test it out, see how the phones do, and see how many times we've been in a position where we just can't use it, there's no service, but, we might get lucky and do pretty good, but you just never know when you're out there towards Swift Groves or wherever, out there towards Isonville, or, because once I hit Isonville, I'm done. I have Verizon, that I'm shot.
I make one.
All right, Walker, I think we're good. Do you have anything else for the fiscal court, sir?
Oh, thank you guys very much. That's like I said, we never really discussed boosters much. We just hope to kind of get our foot in the door. Just once the ball starts rolling, we can kind of go from there and start kind of asking for things as we go and bring things, keeping you guys in the loop.
All right, Walker. Thank you for your time, sir. Be safe.
Thank you.
Motion by Emily,
I second.
second by Cheyenne. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed?
I think we excuse you.
Good, Chris.
Secret. Hey, can we work out something like that just for the booster thing, to keep a check on this? Because I do agree with that. There's places they probably could really use that.
There's places I go in the county where the roadmen will say, I need help, I'm on the way. And at least I've got enough to text somebody, and I can text one of the girls, or text somebody else and say, we need this, or it happens. And we're in my truck, because it's
A lot
got
of places.
Number 3, approve to pay remaining funds in library construction fund over to Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives. Okay, we paid the library bond off. Excess funds in that account, and I'll say this again, excess funds, not fees, were $18,711.06. Your treasurer did the right thing and called them and said, hey, we've got this extra money. The judge wants to put it in the general fund, what say you? And they said, we want our money back. So I'm asking you to allow Crystal to do a check for $18,711.06 back to the Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives.
Motion.
Thanks.
I'm sorry, that's $18,711.22. I told you the wrong number.
Very good.
Really need to get into
So I need a motion for $18,711.22.
Sorry.
I'll second.
All right, Brian makes the motion.
Maybe not have to give us better payment every year.
Any further discussion?
Just beside the point.
All in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Number 4, approve coal severance resolution. We need $100,000 in coal severance for inmate housing. We're asking for $15,000 in coal severance to go to the public library and $15,000 to go to the Laurel Gorge Cultural Heritage Center.
Not giving that to the fire departments this year out of it.
We've already given the fire departments $26,000 each.
Okay, I was thinking.
And of that, the 11,000 of Norm was that, plus 15,000, making it 26,000.
That'll work.
I'll make a motion to adopt this resolution.
I'll second.
A motion by Charles, with a second by Emily. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Approve the sheriff's fourth quarter budget.
Crystal, have you had a chance to look over this?
I did not.
Writing's so small, I was gonna question you on it.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Good motion by Emily, with a second by Charles. Is there any discussion? With that said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Any opposed? Let's have it. Number 6, acknowledge the annual solid waste report. Cheyenne yearly, one of her duties, among the many that she takes on for us, is a yearly solid waste management area annual report. Now, there's a lot in this. There's a lot that she has to do. She's got to go through and discuss and follow the rules. But I want to get the high points for you while you're kind of studying that a little bit. I had applied for the Crumb Rubber Grant every year since I was elected. And this past year, we received a $4,000 Crumb Rubber Grant, which allowed us to get some picnic tables and some seats made from Kentucky crushed crumb rubber. The manufacturer, however, I believe was in Kansas, so the crumb rubber come from Kentucky, went to Kansas. The material was then made into benches and picnic tables, and it was sent back to us. So we were also waste tire grant, $4,000 of tires that we collected from the residents of Elliott County, which did not go into our streams or over our hills on the roads. Litter abatement grant, trash for cash, $18,308.85. That's 105 miles cleared, going on 500 bags of garbage that went to the landfill and did not stay in our ditches, creeks, streams, and over our hills. So participation rate in our trash service is 56.2%. Obviously, we need to work on having a better contract agreement with, or a contract follow through with our trash provider. But Shane, I really want to thank you for everything you do here on this solid waste management end of what you do, which is about a dozen other things that you handle every day. But of that, you're looking at almost 500 bags of trash that didn't stay where it was thrown out. It was picked up, and it was picked up by volunteers, churches, youth groups, school groups, civic groups, fire departments, and other civic-minded individuals that just want to get out and help. I think the Christian Center maybe even done some of it. We really appreciate it. Thank you all for stepping up and helping out.
Make a motion to acknowledge or?
Second.
Motion by Brian with a second by Cheyenne. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Number 7, discuss and approve Orion software for emergency manager. This is a program that we learned from several other counties. Boyd, didn't want to run, Jim?
I visited Boyd.
Jim went to Boyd County, and they have this, and this can really set us up if we have another, it's not if, it's when we have another disaster. A lot of issues we've had with the floods and the ice storms of last year was how much rock went where. And it's easy to say that Gary Carter hauled 12 loads of rock. what you need is Carter hauled 3 loads of 57s to Dewey Garris Ridge between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Gary then hauled 4 loads of shot rock to Wallaho between the hours of this and this, and it was put in this spot. We don't have that. We have, and this program can help us with that. Jim, you want to take over, talk a minute or two about it?
This program it's a disaster management program, but it also will let us include our bridges, maintenance. Right now, today, I got an email from FEMA asking for maintenance records on certain roads that we have projects on. Well, we're having to deal with that because we don't keep regular maintenance records. We never have. They don't exist in Elliott. But the one good thing that we do is we do work logs. So those are allowable in that instance. But this will let us track all of it. But the plus side to it is it has all the FEMA forms built into it. So when we get a disaster declaration, we're in the midst of it. It's going to take somebody putting the information in. But as you start that information, it starts filling those forms out for you. So when the time comes that they're asking for this stuff, it's ready to go. It's more accurate. We're not sitting like we did with the ice storm, having to go back and think in our mind, trying to remember.
Who will be putting this information in?
Well, more than likely it'll be me.
And you'll be getting that information from
But you'll need records from road department and all
All
that
of
too.
us.
But it's gonna take all of us. There ain't no one person that can manage any disaster by themselves. And we found that out during the ice storm and the flood. It took all of us to do it. And honestly, we did very well.
How's that going to change the difference between Gary's 12-load of rock? Why don't you give an example of if you're the one putting it in?
When I go back, Charles, and they say, what did you do on this road? And I can pull up that road and it'll throw me a report for everything that's going on that road. That's
If you put it in.
if you put it in.
But how do you get the information to put in there? If
It'll
Gary
have
doesn't
to
give you,
come from the road department.
they will be responsible for giving you. I took 3 loads of 57s. I took shot rock
We've
here.
been working on that. Cheyenne created a ticket logbook for loads. Luckily, Rodney has been helping with that. So it's just taking all of us to work
But that's what I'm
together.
saying, we should be getting that information now anyway.
But
You just have to have
this will
records.
be in a program that I can pull it up, I can email it, I can show it, I can print off reports. It's $2,000 for the first year for setup, and it's $1,500 per year after that.
This will be a way to provide FEMA with the information they request.
Yeah, it's the difference in getting reimbursed or not.
Well, that's where it's going.
It will help, percentage-wise, it will pay for itself, I'm sure, in the first disaster. There's no doubt in my mind.
Well, now, what kind of guarantee from you can give us that they're gonna give you that information?
I can. But you can guarantee we'll ask for it.
Is there any way?
We're already asking for it. We each need it.
Yeah, I agree with it. I don't disagree with it.
Yeah, and this program I can attach pictures to. That's what excites me is because whenever I go out and I do surveys,
Which washed off there.
yeah, I can attach those pictures right to it.
You can show a start and finish completion.
Is there any way you put like a drop box down there somewhere and the guys like fill out a log for you at the end of the day or maybe the beginning of the next day? They already
They already
They
did.
have that.
Okay, well, I mean, that way you can get your information right there, or you can put it in.
That's part of what you receive on a monthly basis.
We just need more specifics. To go with what Myron was talking about, when we do a declaration, we have a FEMA declaration, we may have more than one site per road. So it has to come down to site 1, 2, or 3. We may have 10 sites. But that information has to be broken down because the girls don't go out and let's see these roads. I do. Rodney does. Myron does.
It becomes site 1 and site Stanford Ridge at site 1, site 2. Dewey Garrison Ridge at site 1, 2, and 3. I think Dewey Garrison.
Well, that's where I want to go with this, is because our road crews will have to be able to give you the proper information.
This program will be as good as we make it.
Yes.
It's there.
So we're going to have to help
We make
the
it.
road crew learn how to give you the proper information to be placed in. As you're saying, site 1, site 2, site 3, that
They're
type
pretty
of
good
stuff.
at putting that on their work logs.
Pardon?
They're pretty good at putting that on their work logs.
If one of us stepped out every afternoon about 3:20 to 3:45 is usually whenever they step in there, and say, listen, I know this is a lot, but I do need to know if you took 50 seconds or if you took shot rock.
Yeah, it's information you gotta have.
And I do need to know if you went to site 1 on Wallaho or if you went to site 2 on Wallaho, because what happens is they come back and they go, we need GPS coordinates of where that was, because that's part of the theme of disaster. Well, then Jim looks it up and goes, all right, that was site 2, and all they said was Hollow Rock or Wallaho. It didn't say whether it's 57s, whether it was DGA, whether it was shot rock, whether it was class 2s. That's where we need to be more precise, because you're paid by FEMA based on that, based on the tonnage you took.
And before that's gonna work, you've got to give him the proper information. The maintenance crews got to pass that on, and they need to know how to pass that on to you.
Could you change your form that they fill out and let them just fill in what you need to know?
Yeah.
I mean, would that be the easiest way to do that?
It's gonna be a little bit of a
You have,
process. It's a change.
Well, where this won't work, where you're saying is, what Jim is pushing here, is he can attach pictures to that computer program. You can't attach pictures to this, and there's no need
Well,
to.
and another example is, we were working through, when we bought Shot Rocks off of Keith Howard. They brought it, Shana's husband was one of them that hauled it, and delivered it to our yard at the garage. Well, we knew it all got used and it went out, but we didn't know where. And it was when we started through this process, because if we've learned anything, we know that the FEMA process is lengthy. So we're looking at, this happened in 1st of March, we was July, trying to look back and figure out where those big rocks went.
Because that's when the question hits.
And these ladies are trying to help me, but they don't even know what it looks like.
What the road looks like. And one of the roads had 3 different spots within a 1/10 of a mile.
Yeah.
And Ron, we did change the forms. I bought them a ticket book, and they have it in every dump truck, even the 1-ton dump truck. And it has like, where's it going, what kind of job you're doing, like, are you potholing, are you fixing the slip, or whatever. But it has it on there. They sign it, they put where it's going, and the date, how much, what kind of rock.
Yeah.
But we did change it, so.
And this stuff is gonna make a difference, I promise.
Well, I would say that's on there, but without them doing their part, you won't have a job as an intern, because you can't explain it if they can't give you the right
I've
information.
got to give it to them anyway.
I understand
You
that.
know what I'm saying?
So I
Yeah,
think
we
this
just
has to work
basically, if
through.
we don't have something like what you're talking about, because I have to deal with this too, doing the state grants for the roads, we just do the best we can.
Yes, that's what I'm
So
saying.
what Jim would take, if they just did, if he didn't have the full information, he would just make it happen.
That's what I'm saying, it needs to be a team effort there. It's got to start with the guys who's hauling the rock.
Yeah,
They do good though, they do pretty good.
They've got to keep records of what they do.
We've had extensive conversation on, on how we can be better for the next time. And it's been a learning experience for all of us. And this is new for all of us, so we're just like, hey, okay, maybe this will help us next time.
And right now, we're dealing with
You know.
millions of dollars, so, you know, you don't want, those percentages on millions is a lot of money.
And that's what I'm saying, it needs to be transferred over and everything kicked properly, and then it's gonna work fine to give FEMA what they want.
I think this would
I
be a
agree with
great,
that, I like that idea,
I
I
think
like
this would
the
be a
deal.
great step in the right direction.
I just realized it's gonna take to get there.
They do a good job of
They-
filling out the work.
Since we began this, the work log, they have come a lot of years.
Yep.
So much so that they'll even walk in the next morning and say, I didn't fill it out right. and I want to hug. I'll do it for you. Thank you so much just for that.
I can ask them too, like if, like when I do the report for girls' packets, if something's not wrote down right, I'll go and ask them, and they'll tell me.
Well, I'm just saying, if we don't do this the correct way, it's just like getting your hand caught in a cookie jar if you're trying to fake a logbook.
It is.
You can get, so why not just do it up front, and you don't have the issue, and then he can get by with it a lot
That's the
simpler,
issue.
because if this is provided to FEMA, then they're going to have their expectations, and they may question it. And if
This is a lot like a tax document too, where you put in this line item, and 2 pages later, that line item populates into another line item that goes into a bigger section. So it's that much better for us versus, all right, Crystal, I need that one more time. And Crystal, here she's flipping through books, or Cheyenne, can you look back one more time? It's already there. It goes, all right, this day, it's already self-populating. As you're like a spreadsheet in my old world, you would start here, but when you got to the corner, everything had to add up, and you go to the next, everything had to add up.
Can I say the most famous words?
Hey, y'all, watch this?
No, this is the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
It needs to change a little.
Right? And the world is going this way. They're
Yes,
making you be
change.
more automated and have this
Yes.
there.
The way we've always done it's not going to hold up.
We're behind, just like normal. We talk about it all the time.
Yes, I agree with you.
But Boyd County's had this in the works for over 2 years now, so it's working. He showed me a little bit of it. It was great, but it's only as good as the information you put in. You're right. I would disagree with you though, but I think we're working that way.
So we got a commitment, we're going to work toward this thing, making it great.
Usually.
What was the cost again?
It's $2,000 for the first year, and it's $1,500 every year after.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it for you.
Got a motion by Emily, with a second by Charles. Is there any further discussion? Let's say all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Because it's going to have to happen.
Passes. All right, great. Considerations of bills and transfers. Number 1, approve paid and unpaid bills.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Charles, and second by Cheyenne. Is there any discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Let's have it. Number 2, approve the interfund budget transfers. Jail bill.
I'm moving 20,000 from the general to the jail.
Motion to approve.
Second. Motion by Emily, with a second by Brian. Is there any discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Matt, wait,
Yep.
too late.
No.
How's our jail bill totaling up so far for the year?
We're back up in the,
It was 19 this time.
yeah.
Are
We're
we
back up.
above last year's quote or?
Oh, definitely, because we were under COVID last year. Yeah, we're gonna be back up above around the $200,000 range.
That's what I was kind of expecting, but
Two to 230 is where it's gonna be. Number 3, approve to pay Brian Dillon for training incentive.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Charles, with a second by Emily. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
I didn't abstain for it about me.
Make note that,
I'm saying what I did, but I don't know.
just make note that Brian abstained from voting on consideration of bills and transfers number 3.
I don't know if I should or not, but I thought I'd be best for the auditor's purposes.
Communications from other county offices. As a request, we have the Laurel Ward Center, Rocky Agnes Public Library, our road department, the treasurer's report. Treasurer, do we have any others that need to be noted? Dispatch center, right? I think I may have seen one from dispatch, and then our road.
Yes, you
department.
did.
Okay. Need an acknowledgement, please.
Motion to acknowledge.
Second.
Motion by Charles, with a second by Emily. Any discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Anything further to be brought before this court tonight before we adjourn? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Or second.
Thank you.